there is actually a very clear connection between the position of freedom, which is not a feeling. Remember, the freedom is a position or a posture. There's a clear relationship between the posture of freedom, the position of freedom, and letting go of everything, which is what we're speaking about here, which is what meditation is all about. Okay? I want you just to think about this for a little bit. If you start paying attention, you'll see there's a very clear relationship between letting go of everything and the posture of freedom, which is not a feeling. So just to repeat that, I want you to look into how letting go of everything, in order to do it, you have to do it yourself and see what it is like. Look at the relationship between letting go of everything and the posture of freedom. The position of freedom that's not a feeling. And once again, it's not a feeling. Sometimes it takes people many years to figure that out. It doesn't mean they didn't hear it many years, but it actually for it to go from the ear to hit the brain. And then enter into the mind, and then into the self. Wow. It might take a long time. The penetration. Because you know what happens, you see, when you start doing this, is you start having these moments where you experience insight. So insight is what happens when the clouds part, and then your awareness starts penetrating through very deep, and you go, oh, it's like you can't believe it. But if you stay with it, it keeps happening. And like on a retreat like this, it can happen many times in a day, but you have to stay very focused. That's the thing. You have to stay very focused. And as you experience what's called penetrating insight or liberating insight, one of the big consequences of that is you start to gain a lot of confidence in your own potential to actually develop. And that's what's important. Because then you realize, oh, I can do this. And it's important to believe that you can do it. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people say, oh, it's too hard for me, I'll never be able to do it. Well, if you're not going to do this, what are you going to do then? You remember what I said before? Who am I? Why am I here? What am I doing? And where am I in this trajectory? The question, who am I? Why am I here? What am I doing? And where am I in this trajectory? Those are questions that are always important. So they're important now. They're of absolute importance now. They're going to be absolutely important 10 years from now and every day in between. So it's not a good idea to think that it's possible to forget how important they are. They're always important. They're never unimportant. They're always absolutely important. From the personal perspective, from the personal developmental perspective, it doesn't matter. I have a lot of time. It's the ego, right? It doesn't matter. I have a lot of time. So that's the personal perspective. But from the big impersonal perspective, remember radical impersonal evolutionary enlightenment. From the big impersonal means from the species perspective, right? Personal means I'm just Andrew, I'm just little old Andrew. I'm just one little old person, unique person. It's not my problem. Then when you go to the species perspective, then you start to feel this sense of urgency. You see, it's unbearable sense of urgency. There's a sense of urgency, there's a sense of how important it is to be awake. You understand? Not for you. That you start to realize that it's not important for you, it's important for all of us. You start to realize that we have to be awake if we are going to change. And the way we're going to be awake is if you as an individual are awake. You get my point? If the individual awakens, then the species awakens to a certain degree, and we all are dependent upon that. There's a great sense of urgency in all this.